Hey guys, how's it going? So, we're going to talk a little bit about cucumbers. We are trying 3 different varieties from 3 different companies. All of these companies we've done plants from in the past, so we know their quality and what they do. But what we are attempting to figure out is, number 1, what cucumber we like, the taste, the flavor of, the utility of. Number 2, which one's going to grow and be, of course, pest resistant, disease resistant, and just in general prolific for us in our area. And then 3, how they grow, because there's some contradictory information on the packaging. Slightly contradictory information. So in one section it'll say that it's a bush, in the next it recommends some trellising. So we're not sure if that means that it just needs a little bit of general staking to help support the main vine, or if it means that it needs actual trellising. That being said, we have an entire bed here that we need to plant out, and I've got several. Can I have this one for a second? Okay. So here's 2 of the varieties. We have the Dar. This one grew 2. We have an Ashley. This one grew 2, mainly because I planted 2 seeds. Now, cucumbers, eggplants, squashes of all types do not like to have their feet wet or messed with either. So they like well-draining soil, at least for us here, but we're in a very humid and hot climate, so they're constantly damp. But when it comes to this sort of a thing, we seeded 2 in each pot. Obviously, we've got one here. This guy, let me see if I can get a good angle on that. This guy is obviously bigger than this guy. So we're going to cull, and this is always the hard part whenever if you're anything like me, but you've got to do it because these do not divide out well. So this is not something that I can go in and separate the plants and then have them thrive. They just don't do well that way. So if you are looking at growing anything in the squashy family, kind of keep that in mind. Yes, it seems sort of wasteful to get rid of a perfectly good plant, but at the risk of having a plant that dies, you got to do what you got to do. All right, so we have this one here on the Dar, and this guy, obviously bigger than this little guy, so he's going bye-bye. All right, let's get these guys in the ground now, okay? Okay, so I have a dog that's dying to get over and look at something here, but all right, so we've gotten this planted out. Let me turn you around here so you can see. All right, so the way that we have these spaced is just in case they do end up needing trellising. We have extra trellising that we can definitely use to support them, so that's not a problem. But we did need to put spacing in order to keep everything from crowding too much around them. And the main reason for that, obviously, this is going to be dependent upon your area. Let me get into the shade here, it's hot. Depending upon your area, we are a hot, humid climate. So for us, we get powdery mildew on cucumbers, aubergines, and or that just sounds so much better than zucchini to say, actually. Makes me actually want to eat zucchini. I don't do summer squashes, but anyway. So if you live in a humid, damp climate, that's something that you want to take into consideration, is enough airflow around that plant, that type of a plant, because otherwise you will come down with more of that mildew issue. The other thing that you can do is you can succession sow. That's a very common thing that people in this area do, especially the organic gardeners. they will seed start, have their first round, and then seed start another batch, and then have a second round. Usually the second round of cucumbers in our area, they're not as great. So you really want to get that first harvest in the spring, early summer compared to the later, just for our zone and for tastiness. But that is how you plant out cucumbers. Very, very simple, very easy plant to grow in general. Like I said, just make sure you have good, appropriate air circulation. And if you're in a dry area, you are going to want to make sure that they're well hydrated, because they don't like their roots to stay soggy. So you want well draining soil, but you want to keep them wet because they do like water. They are mostly water, kind of like watermelons, right? So, okay, that's all I've got for you today on that. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring, of course, and I don't always say that with every video, but there you go. So, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.